Okay, everybody. So we are back from Puerto Vallarta, and I wanted you to also hear from. I'm not going to go through a ton of announcements. I don't really know what to announce right now. I just want to share with you what we experienced and what happened, and I don't want to leave anything out. I don't know if this will be a short call or a long call. I have no idea, but I asked Kyle if he would come in with me too, because this is the first time ever that we had to get a passport, that we flew out of the country. Like, it's our first for all of it. And we're like middle-aged old people. And it's the first time we've done that. And a lot of people, for them, it was kind of hard to believe. And I think I speak for Kyle when I say up until the day we left, maybe the day before, neither one of us had a ton of excitement because it really still didn't seem real. It seemed surreal. I don't know. There were moments because of the journey we've been on the last year that we even questioned if Kyle could go. We questioned if Mexico would let him in. We really didn't know if it would work. And so we just were kind of like, it'll be real when we're on that plane. Until then, let's just roll with this. So I wanted Kyle to share with you too, as someone that supported me so much in growing this business and taking care of things at home and always being a cheerleader or a sounding board for me when I need it, but not fully engaged and working the business. I wanted you to hear from his perspective, what he experienced as well. And then also, hopefully at the end, share a conversation he had with our CEO in the pool about incentive trips ahead.
Nugget.
But don't start with that.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm up?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. I haven't seen many of you for a very long time, so it's good to see some very familiar faces. Love all of you. And I'll start kind of at the beginning where it still is kind of surreal and we're just pinching ourselves. Today, I took the day off again from work just to kind of get our bearings about everything because this whole experience has just blown my mind. I mean, there's something that happened in Mexico that has just made this opportunity and this business beyond belief. I think the most simple thing to say is there's no doubt that little yellow pill, the piece of protandum we sell, is what it is, right? I mean, there's pages and pages and documents and documents and videos and just, oh my gosh, it's exhausting talking about what protandum can do. And it's so far beyond what protandum can do. I mean, this opportunity we have and what I experienced in Mexico really hit me at the legacy event when we're with those kids at that elementary school. And the coolest thing is I was playing Santa. I had $51 bills and I was just handing them out to them like parade candy when I'd see them off in a corner or off with their little buddies. The first 4 I gave, we were putting dirt on their soccer field and I gave them to 4 little boys. Next thing I know, he brought 8 of his little girlfriends over and I'm just handing out these dollar bills. And the first thing they do was smell. Like, I don't know if it had cocaine on it or can I say cocaine? Well, I don't know. So you don't know. It was just funny. I mean, they just wanted to smell. I love it. So, I mean, it was just that whole overwhelming experience that what these people don't have is what Life Vantage is. I mean, Life Vantage is this vehicle because I think everybody on this call, I don't know if there's any guests on the call. Sorry about the cocaine thing. I mean, I could have trafficked some cocaine, but we didn't.
Come on.
All right, we're back to normal. We weren't trafficking. But it was just this reality that Life Vantage is this vehicle that is 10 times bigger than a protandum. I mean, for us to be able to pay it forward with 300 other people and just to see what this vehicle can do and the momentum it brings and the opportunity it brings is, you all know what it can do for you. You all know what it can do for your families. You all know what it can do for your kids' kids. We talk about that. But one thing that we can't express until you've experienced it is what we can do for the world, for others, for just this small little village in Puerto Vallarta that just needed some fresh paint and some dirt on a soccer field and some soccer goals. There's nothing that can put it into words. And it just has given me another perspective to say, I've always known we've been fine. This is always just going to be a wonderful vehicle, wonderful experience. But if we don't kick it into overdrive and do it 10 times faster so we can pay it 10 times faster so I can experience what I experienced in Puerto Vallarta, then, I mean, I'm already 50, so I'm already halfway in the grave. So if I don't do it now, when are we going to do this thing? Because you hear of the wonderful experience other people have had before this, and now we got to experience it, whether it was really one of our goals or not, then we're still sitting here going, what the heck? We just spent 5 days in Mexico with the most wonderful people, the most wonderful food. The people there were all so friendly. That's way beyond a protandem and trying to tell people you need to take a pill. I mean, it's just so much bigger than that. And then I have this awesome nugget. And this opportunity is I'm just sitting in the pool. Can I say tequila?
Just talk about the pool.
Okay, no cocaine, no tequila. But I'm just sitting there on my first tequila of the day. And we just get back from the island and everybody's back in the pool. And Darren Gentian just comes swimming over. And I'm with Sean Poe and with Kurt Fisher. And Darren just comes swimming over and, hey, how'd you guys enjoy the island? And he did that little jet propulsion thing where you go up into the air on those jets and then go in and dive in and out of the water. And it was amazing to watch him do that. And he just starts sharing with, hey, I used to live in Puerto Vallarta. It's special to me 30 years ago. And then he says, this is the best trip he's experienced, just the way it all came together, smaller resort. And he's like, oh, the other thing I did is I just went and visited Carnival Cruise Line. I think it's Carnival. Could be one of the other ones. And he's like, huh. And they're like trying to pimp me on what it would be like if 5,000 LifeVantage people were all on a ship. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, we can do an elite academy with just 5,000 LifeVantage people on a ship. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, from what the cost would be for what we pay for advance to what it would be to get the boat, a ship, a yacht, a world. And they're also building this, they bought an island and it's going to be the world's largest water park. So he's going on the way out to the water park island. It would be the main sessions. And LifeVantage would have the entire boat. So all the TVs, all the activities, everything would be shut down and it would just be LifeVantage stuff. And then for the next couple days, we get to experience life vacationing with 5,000 of our closest friends. And then on the way back would be the other main session with speakers, breakout sessions, and all the different rooms. And I'm just going, whoa, this guy. And tell me another company that is even sniffing. If he pulls this off, people will be like, you did what with 5,000 people? So they're trying to work out the logistics, and we're already booked out for the next year with events, he said. So it would be in 2020. But he's just like, you could earn your full way on, or you could earn part way on, or you could pay for half, or you could pay for a person to go with you or whatever. So they're working out the logistics to sell out a boat for 5,000, but it would be a LifeVantage cruise with one of the premier
cruise lines.
Carnival. It's not Carnival now that I think about it. It's Norwegian or somebody else. Rich, maybe you're up on that cruise stuff more than me. I see you, buddy. Tell me another time where this would have happened, where I'm just sitting in a pool on this little blue floaty and over swims Darren Jensen and just says, hey, this is just what I love most about what we get to do, is just sitting and visiting with the people and just hearing what's good, what's bad, and just sharing with what the vision of LifeVantage is, because it is bigger than the two of us sitting here. It's bigger than anybody I'm looking at on the screen. This LifeVantage thing is a huge vehicle, and the momentum it's bringing right now is just out of control. So something has happened to me there in Mexico. Had many conversations, just sidebar conversations with just some phenomenal leaders and friends and soon to be mentors in my life that are just going to put their hands around us and just love on us and just keep showing us the way. So
what happened? What changed your perspective? Because a lot of people on this call, they have the same situation where they have spouses that are supportive, but not really all in. And what happened to you, and how's it going to change now?
Well, it's just the reality of it now. I've always said, hey, whatever she needed, I'd be there. But there's this thing about being on the sideline and being a cheerleader versus being in the game with somebody. So if you don't roll up the sleeves, get a little dirty, rough the quarterback a little bit like Clay Matthews does, do whatever you got to do, you got to be willing to do that. So we put a little initial plan in place and some areas that I can help her, because it's only going to make her better and free up her time to allow her to do what she does best. And that's to love on people and to be with people and to grow people. And I can just take care of some of the business things and just some things in the background that can just really take us to the next level. And you guys are all going to be along on that journey with us. So really, Mexico was perfect. I mean, just absolutely perfect. So that's all I got.
Thanks, big guy.
You're welcome.
Get out of my chair.
No, see, yeah, so much for the partnership. Okay.
Thank you. Love you. Oh, that was my knee. Okay. So I wanted him to share that with you guys. I didn't know he'd talk about this kind of stuff he did, but I want to share with you my take from it too. When we arrived in Puerto Vallarta, and I'm going to share with you as much as I can because I want you to feel what I felt, because I want you to want this for you. I want you to believe that you are worthy of an incentive trip, because I didn't. Here's the thing. I was saying on the Beautiful Leaders Mastermind group today that I led, that I've never really volunteered to lead because I've been in my own head for such a long time. When your business isn't growing as fast as you want it to grow, you get in your own head, right? And you ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to change? Maybe I'm just not good enough. Maybe I thought I was. I thought I was ready. I thought I was equipped. But maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not good enough. And that, I realized, was holding me back. And I need to apologize to all of you for really downplaying the incentive trips. I have not instilled belief in you. I have not encouraged you enough in the past with these incentive trips because, frankly, I didn't believe in them myself. I didn't think that I could get it. And I know that then it affected how I led you in believing in the incentive trips as well. And I'm so sorry that I didn't take them seriously. I'll never do that again, because I want you to experience these, because you can pay for a trip, but you cannot pay for the experience that was given in this trip. You can't do it. And that first day we arrived, you walk into this picturesque area and LifeVantage has signs everywhere. You know you're in the right place. And as you walk around the corner and they've got LifeVantage people there waiting for you. And they had a big table and you were given a bag. I get made fun of for the way I say that. Anyway, you get this tote and it's got sunscreen in it and glasses, and you each get to pick a hat. And you got a fan. And then they're like, here's $30 in cash to compensate you for your taxi ride, which we paid $17 for. But they gave us $30 cash to compensate us for that. We didn't have to pay for that. And then you find your room. And then once you find your room, you are kind of on your own for a little bit until the reception. And that's when I was like, as soon as I turned the corner and saw everybody, I felt like a new distributor again. I felt shy. I felt insecure. I felt like, who am I going to talk to? I was so in my own head. And I wasn't like the joyful, typical Tanya. I was just really like, I was like a turtle and I was just peeking out of my shell, just barely. And Kyle and I went to the reception that night, and it was hard for me because we had dinner. We had dinner with the Poes and Maria and Carrie Dickey. And even there, I sat there at this hibachi grill and it was fun, but I wasn't really talkative because I was scared. I just thought, how am I going to make the most of this experience when I'm looking at everybody else right now and thinking they're better than me? That's what my mindset was. So then we go to the reception and I didn't talk to a whole lot of people. You could see people were kind of in their little, huddles together, and some people were dancing, and I couldn't hear anything, first of all, because the music was pretty loud. And I just thought, I don't know if this is the right night to get to know people because I really can't hear anything. I don't know if I'll recognize them tomorrow in a different aspect. So we kind of cut out early. And I told my husband on the way up, I'm like, I'm really sorry if I was like Debbie Downer tonight for you. Like, I don't know what to make of this yet. Like, I feel really insecure. I'm like, if I talk to somebody, what am I going to say? What are they expecting of me? Like, I was a hot mess. And then the next day, I just told myself, like, I can't do this. Like, I got to get out of my head. So we were downstairs. Michelle had a WhatsApp thread for the people that were there. And a couple of the couples met up with us. We waited for them and got on the bus together, and it was perfect. Like, the husbands all jived, we all jived, and then we got on the boat ride. And on the boat ride, I just got to this point where that's when I had the realization that I've downplayed all these incentive trips because I was insecure and didn't think I could make them. And then it exuded onto you. And I just sat at the front and I just looked around me and I saw dolphins jumping out of the water for the first time, and it was so cool. I've never seen that. So cool. And then you have these guys singing to you and people are taking pictures and everyone is so happy. And the boats were just for us. And then you arrive to this island, this picturesque island that only Live Vantage is on, with all these activities. And you're there with anyone from a new distributor to a Pro 10 and 11. Everybody's there. You find your little area and then you just start walking around and being active. And Kyle and I got to do things in the water we've never done before. We paddleboarded for the first time. We kayaked together for the first time. And one really quick story, when Kyle got on the paddleboard, the guy put it out in the water and Kyle got on it and the guy goes, "Oh, grande." That's what he said about Kyle. So funny. So I get on my paddleboard, Kyle's on his, and I'm like going like really carefully because it's the first time I'd done it and I didn't want to fall. And then I look back, Kyle's in the water. I can't even get back on the paddleboard. It was so funny. So anyway, he didn't last very long on the paddleboard, but I went twice because I loved it so much. And then in the middle of the water, they had like these little stations with hammocks on them. And so at one point, Maria's out there on the hammock and I just kind of pulled up my little paddleboard next to her and just sat and talked to her in the ocean on a paddleboard while she's sitting in the sand under a hammock, like just talking about life and talking about the fact that Noah would play on Saturday night and all these amazing things. And then there was always food available. There were always drinks available. They had these beautiful little bathrooms with little huts and candles. And I mean, you just felt so safe and you felt like you didn't want it to end. And that was the thing too, you guys. Like, I didn't do any business talk. I don't know anybody that did a lot of business talk on the island. Every second mattered. And every second you felt it. Like, the day didn't go too fast. The day was just as perfect as it should be. And then that evening we went back and we just hung out in the pool. People had a great time. And that next morning when we went to the service project, that was like one of my favorite things because at one point I'm like, I took it all in and I'm like, there's Brandon Cunningham. There's Cody Pruitt, a Pro 3. There's a child that's like 12 years old. Here next to me is a man from New York that's Asian that doesn't speak much English. And then there's me. And then there's a distributor from Minnesota. Like, it was just this melting pot of distributors but it just instantly, like, there were no walls. There was no rank in that during that project, no rank. It was just people working hard for other people, nobody complaining, nobody questioning it. And what LifeVantage did ahead of time, like our company, you guys, they made the front page news of that country the next day for what they did. And when we drove to the school, oh my gosh, there was so much poverty. I've never seen like that before in my life. There were makeshift roofs and like blankets for windows, and I saw one lady cooking in the street on a little pot, and there were chickens running everywhere, and I've never seen that. Like, I've never experienced that before. And on the way home on the flight, I love the Marvel movies, and I was watching Black Panther for like the 5th time, okay? But Wakanda is like protected by a barrier. And when we walked into the United States of America and it said, welcome, what you walked into at the United States and the technology you instantly experienced versus what you experienced in Puerto Vallarta. When you walked into Puerto Vallarta, I mean, it was jovial. People were just so happy and excited that you were there. And then America is just kind of like, you know, everybody's to themselves. And yet we have abundance all around us, and we take it for granted so bad. And I'm like, it's like every country lives in their own Wakanda. And they don't want to share anything they have within it with anybody outside of it. And that's not okay. Like, we need to like bust the barrier open through an opportunity of LifeVantage so that we can share what we have with other people in the world. And that next morning after the service project, we ordered room service that was free. And the guy that came in, he could not stop talking about the fact that he heard that we went and did that service project. And he thought that was so amazing. And he was so grateful. And don't you love my country? Isn't it so beautiful? And he's like, I love it too. I get to see this same view every single day. And he was so grateful. Like Kyle giving tips of $10 and $5. Like one guy screamed like a woman when he got a $10 bill from Kyle. Like it was such a big deal to him. And I thought that was so, so beautiful. And I want you to remember that too. Like, it's not about us. It's about doing what God has us wanting us to do in this opportunity so that we can give and give and give in really big ways and leave a big footprint. And then that night we went to dinner, and so it was Kyle, me, Michelle, and Carrie Williams. And I didn't ask for this, but we were talking about Ireland, you know, because Carrie's like, are you loving it? You can go to Ireland. And I'm like, yep. I'm like, I have it mapped out. I'm like, if I balance for 7 sooner, you know, than later, and I maintain that, I'm like, I've got Ireland. She's like, well, how much more do you need for 7? And I'm like, I don't want to tell you. And she's like, why don't you want to tell me? I'm like, because you're going to yell at me, and I don't want to be yelled at. And she's like, just tell me. And I told her, and she yelled at me. And and then all of a sudden, like, she's like, what? I knew she would do that. But she sat there and just grilled me because she felt like I was holding back. And so she started asking me all these questions like, what's holding you back from balancing? Why can't you just go get that done? And then she was like, what would you say? Give me good qualities about Tanya. Give me some good qualities that other people would say about Tanya. And I struggled. Like I said a few things, but I didn't have a long list. Like I just struggled. It was uncomfortable for me. And she's like, I'm not through with this. She's like, this is not enough. She goes, I don't believe you that you want Ireland. She's like, there's still a wall up there. She's like, you need to let something go. You need to believe in yourself. You need to believe that you can do this. So then I start crying, of course. Like, I'm at the dinner table. Half the table's people I've barely even met yet. And I'm a hot mess. Okay. And it was hot already there. And she just wouldn't let it go. So she told me, she's like, you need to go for a walk on the beach and you need to just let it go. And I realized that I have been trying so hard, and I think a lot of people resonate with this, to just always be Mrs. Fix-It, to just hold it together, you know, make sure the kids are okay, make sure the husband's okay, make sure the business is okay, make sure the home front's okay. Like, it's all up to me. And if something falls apart, I'm the one that has to fix it, because heaven forbid it falls apart. And I think it's the same as a leader. We can feel that way. We can feel like, I can't lose it. I can't not have a grasp or a grip on what's happening. I can't not have answers for people when they come to me. And when you do that, it festers and it festers and it festers and builds up. And like, we walked on that beach and I was glad it was dark, I'm going to tell you, because I don't know if I could have cried as hard as I did if it were during the daylight walking next to Kyle. Because I think those are some of the things, like sometimes maybe you don't want your significant other to see you breaking down so much, because maybe it's a sign of weakness, or maybe you feel like they'll tell you just to snap out of it and they won't have the empathy for you in that moment that you feel you need to have. And I didn't need any of it. I just needed to talk through it. And it really helped a ton. And I really did feel like I had a big emotional release that I really needed to have. And I also needed to know that my spouse and what he'd said to Sean Poe at the table would be real if we came back, that it wouldn't just be words, that he would live up to it. And I didn't want what I say to just be words either. And for a while, as I sat at the table with Carrie, I think I was afraid to say certain things to her because I kept thinking, I don't want to say anything to her. I don't want to say I'm going to go. I don't want to promise I'm going to do this. I don't want to say that I'm going to get to that, because what if I don't? But who cares? What if you don't? That is okay if you don't. As long as we're all in this opportunity because God opened that door for you. And what I want for you is to believe in that and to remember that. And look, God knows what your journey in life Vantage is going to look like. He has a plan for you. And whether you live up to that plan or not, that is all on you. I can't want it more than you do. I can't put in the work for you. You have to put in the work. And it's up to you whether you want to face the facts that you let it go, you took it for granted, or you did everything you could to make sure that your path aligned with the plan he had for you. And that journey may not mean you go to Ireland. It may not mean that. I've been in this 7 years and this was my first incentive trip. And it was the perfect timing in my journey. But even if you don't go to Ireland, you need to know that I'm in such a good place though, because I know that I did everything I could to try to get that trip. And I am in such a better place than I was before. I'm in such a better place than when I started. I'm not going to tell you, you have to be in Ireland. You better get there. What's your plan? Like, you're going to tell me. You tell me how bad you want Ireland and what you're willing to do. Everyone Carrie Williams had a ton of people in Puerto Vallarta, a ton of people. And they all said, I asked Carrie, when can I get your time? How do I earn your time? Tell me what to do. And Carrie always said to them, Carrie Dickey told me, Carrie Williams said to them, what Carrie Dickey told me was, I won't start a fire, but I will come and pour gasoline on the fire. So I would say that to you. If you want Ireland, you tell me, let me know, please, so that we can have that game plan. And if I see you then plugging in and attending those Super Saturdays and those LVAs and going to everything that you can, doing everything that you can to get there, I will stay with you through the course. I will work with you side by side. And I will love it because I know either way, whether we make it or not, we're gonna get there. Yes, gasoline on the fire, right? But you have to do it. You have to do the work, because no growth, no journey matters if someone else is doing it for you. That's way too easy and that's not gratifying at all. This business is about personal growth and about you believing that you're equipped. And the minute you said yes and you are plugging into this, it makes you a leader. The minute people say yes to you as a customer, yes to you as becoming a distributor, you are a leader. And I don't have all the answers always, but I know where I can go to get them. You don't need to have all the answers, but you know that there's a community of people that can get them for you. Post it on Team Act. If there's something touches you or you feel like you need to get something out, or you just want to rant and rave a little bit, do it on Team Act, right? Like, put it out there in our community that is a very safe place, and allow yourself to be encouraged and then built up and to just feel better about it, right? So that wet noodle lashing that I got from Carrie, It was the greatest thing that could have ever happened to me. It really was. And that next day, the circles that were created, right? Andy Stanley has that saying that circles are better than rows. And when you're in a circle, everyone can see one another. And it was Marcy Steiner, and there was Melody Rodarte and Nancy Bryan and us, you know, sitting there, and just everyone feeding off of one another. Maria and Carrie, like these amazing women. And you know, Carrie Williams, all she did was she just kept saying, tell them about that one time. Tell them about that one time. Tell them when you did this. Tell them what you thought when you did that. She taught us by having other people share their stories. She was so good at highlighting the other people in her team to teach us, because you saw how it built them up and created confidence in them as they shared. And 2 of her team members I'm going to have on next week. And their story is it's gonna blow your mind. It's gonna blow your mind. So please make sure that you're on it. But she was so good at edifying other people. And I also saw people like doctors sitting in our circle and crying, and people saying, I've never seen you cry. And I was just bawling my eyes out the night before. And I had a moment of being able to tell somebody, look, you don't have to have it all together. You don't have to fix everything. You don't have to know it all. You don't have to be the perfect doctor that's working 4 jobs to hold everybody else together in the house. Like, let it go. Because I'm telling you guys, if you are just feeling that angst and that anxiety, I know some of you know this, like Kirk Duncan talks about the field. He has a playlist that's really kind of hardcore music, a playlist that's sad music, and a playlist that's happy music. And he's like, I allow myself emotional release. When I am angry, he's like, I go to places where no one will hear me and no one will see me. So there's never any judgment. And I allow myself to just let it go, to get out of me and through me, so that it doesn't become a part of me and affect the decisions that I make and affect what I believe in myself. And all I was doing was festering up all this stuff that made me lose all my self-worth and all the confidence that I need to take my business to the next level. And I don't want you to have like big expectations either. Like, I just want you to believe in your self-worth and put in the activity, because expectations can really create huge disappointment, right? It just brings about anxiety. I just want you to work from love and stay plugged in and know that if somebody's in your path or you think of somebody, it's for a flippin' reason. And it means you need to talk to them no matter how scared you are. And if you're scared, tell them you're scared, but talk to them, because their name or them being in front of you is there for a reason. That is part of your journey, so that you can grow and get to where you need to be, so that one day you'll get on that incentive trip and you'll be on a call like this with your team, and they will get to hear your story, and then they'll want to experience it with you. It was the most amazing thing ever. And when it was over, you know, it was over. It was time to be over. Every day was so perfect. And on a funny note, I just have to say, we had the volleyball tournament. I don't know how many of you saw Rich, your picture, that peach picture is amazing. Like, it's so perfect. Because when you go through the line, when you check in, they're like, are you going to be in the volleyball tournament? And I'm like, no, I'm not. So I didn't sign up. And then like 2 days later, the poser like, oh yeah, you are. We have a team. And I was like, okay. Like, I couldn't say no. And so Kyle was on it and whatever. So we go out and play, and I'm like, I'm not going to be like, I'm going to take this serious. I'm not going to be like a girl out there in the water. And unfortunately, the first time I went up to block a ball, so Sean titled our team No Pantalones. That was our team name. And so we're playing this game. I go up for a block and I lose my pantalones. Not completely, but I like mooned everybody behind me. I got back in the water and I was like, what happened? So it made me afraid to play the rest of the game. So then the next game going forward, I got to borrow some shorts from somebody so I could be aggressive and not think about my pantalones. But I got to tell you, the rest of the day, when I looked at that whiteboard and I saw our name, I was just laughing. I'm like, who knew that I would take it so literal and become the mascot? Like, it was just the best. It was so funny. And corporate, like, they were everywhere. they were, the way they got to, like, Darren Jensen spent such a long time with those guys. He is so proud of the community of Puerto Vallarta. He's so proud of that community. He lived there for quite a long time, knowing the language. And even when we were at the school and they sat at the table, like watching the kids and hearing them just thanking us and their performances they put on, he was vested in every single moment. He loves this company so much. His wife was there for a little bit, but they were just out and about with all of us, just, you know, intermixing and mingling, and just another person, not just corporate. And so giving and so kind. And the guys that put on the event, Dustin and Jeff, Dustin, like the minute you needed anything, he was there. We had a little reception, and people, that was their first time incentive. You could choose a bottle of tequila with a LifeVantage logo on it, or like a little tile. And I wanted both, but we got the tequila because that's what Kyle wanted. And then later, Dustin got me a tile. Like, they were just so, so generous. And then Saturday night, we got to go to the sports bar with Maria. And I know you guys saw this, like, her son Noah was playing for Stanford, and he caused the fumble that caused them to win the game. And just the sports bar being filled with LifeVantage people and everybody cheering her on. Like, it was amazing. It was amazing. I hope you feel it. I hope you feel it, because you just get connected so much more to the people that are part of this company. And it really does take your belief to another level, because I'm grateful that God put Carrie Williams beside me that night at dinner so that I could have that conversation and really release the walls and the barriers I had, so I could come back to you with more tenacity and more courage and more passion than ever before, to let you know, like, it's just time. I can't sit back on this anymore, and I don't want you to either. Like, you'll just have regret. And the more we sit back on it, the more we'll question it. And then the more we get in our head, and the more we end up down this silly rabbit hole where we just should not be. So yeah, that's what I had. Again, I'm really serious about this. I'm also going to do a Facebook Live. I need to know if you want Ireland, because we're going to connect. I need to know if you have it mapped out, not right away. I just want to know if you want to go. And if you don't want to go, if maybe your first goal is just to get to Pro 3, or your first goal is just to pay for your product, that is awesome. I don't have to hear that you want to go if you really don't want to. It's okay. I'm not going to think less of you if you don't want to go. I'm going to love you no matter what, because I get it. Like, even if it's not Ireland right now, though, tell us your goal. Tell us what you're looking to accomplish and get done in this, ending out this year and going into the next year. Where do you want to be? And are you really ready to put in the work so that you don't have regrets, and so that you're not having to hear and go through the same conversation at this time next year? You don't want to do that. I did that. It's not comfortable. And again, it sends you down a rabbit hole. So I hope you guys got something from this. I hope, yeah, good. Okay, Candy Clark is going to do prayer for us tonight. I'm gonna unmute it, Candy. I appreciate you stepping up. She said this a couple weeks ago, and then I forgot to call on her. There we go. So I would love to have you pray us out, Candy.
Okay, I'll wing it.
Perfect.
Okay, gracious Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for blessing us with all these lives that come together tonight on this Zoom. It is a precious bunch, and we are so blessed. And I would also like to thank you for your unfailing love to us. And I would ask that you please give us the strength to push away the devil and his fear with him. And I would ask that you give us the courage to step up into the greatness that you have designed for us. And I would ask that you keep our hustle holy. And in your gracious heavenly name, I pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Candy. I'm going to leave you guys with one more thing. I shared this with my husband about not long ago, but talked about God being the master potter, and how through life experiences through our life, like he's shaping us, he's molding us, you know, he's the potter. But it's really hard to make something if it's very hardened and like maybe full of ego, maybe full of pride, maybe full of so much emotion that they're afraid to let go of. But the minute that clay can be softened, then you're able to be molded. So if you feel like you're walking around with a lot of tension and just maybe a little ego, maybe a little bit of pride, I would just say to you, find a way or ask God to just release it from you. And maybe it means you take a car ride and with nobody else around, you're just like, enough is enough. Stop saying this, stop playing small, just whatever it is that's on your mind, like yell it out and say, I've had enough. I'm not going to do it anymore. Now I'm yours. I'm ready to be softened. I'm ready for you to mold me. I'm ready for you to just guide me and lead me through this. Show me what you've got planned. And he will. You just got to ask. And it's not always on our time. It's on his time. So be patient with the process. Have gratitude. Love the journey because we're all in this together. Isn't that so cool? All right. Mwah. Love you guys. Have a great night. Bye.